Wow. Okay. YouTube Niner Empire. What is going down? Welcome back to another video. Super Bowl 59 is all wrapped up, and the Philadelphia Eagles are your 2024 Super Bowl champions. What a game Philadelphia played. They prevent the Chiefs three-peat. I was wrong. I picked the Chiefs to win the game, like many other people out there. And man, dominant fashion by the Philadelphia Eagles in this game, from start to finish. I mean, you look at what transpired early, right? Like, Dotson catches that long ball from Jalen Hurts that sets up the tush push touchdown, um, and then following that possession and whatnot. Um, You have a big turnover by Mahomes. He throws a pick six to Cooper DeJean. Man, Cooper DeJean, what a performance by that guy. Look, I love Ricky Pearsall and all, but there was clearly a better pick there for the 49ers at 31 overall last season, and that pick was Cooper DeJean. And they decided to go with Pearsall, and I'm not mad about it because I love Ricky Pearsall. But man, they had a chance. The Niners could have had Cooper DeJean. That really would have been the pick there. I remember last year watching the draft and thinking, man, they have a chance to get one of the top corners in the draft. And yeah, we had Diamador Lenore and Charvarius Ward, but Cooper DeJean would have been a very nice addition. And now you look at the current 49er, cornerback room, and Charvarius Ward is on his way out. Yeah, you still have Diamador Lenore, but man, you could have had a stud young player in Cooper DeJean, but they decided to go wide receiver, and I can't hate him for it because obviously, the departure of Deebo Samuel is imminent. He requested a trade today, but what a performance by Cooper DeJean. He picks off Mahomes, takes it back for a pick six, and that puts the Chiefs ahead. What was it, 17-0, I believe it was. And then they get another interception, and this time it was Christian Braun. I think his name is Christian Braun. Is it Braun? I think it's Braun. I'm thinking of the basketball player. I think Zach Bond. I said Christian Bond. Zach Bond. What an incredible year that he's had. I'm pretty sure he started on the special teams or something like that, or he started on the practice squad. There's a pretty cool story with Zach Bond. But then he gets an interception. And that really puts the Chiefs in a bad situation because now they're playing from behind. The Philly ended up scoring on that drive. I believe it was A.J. Brown or somebody who scored a touchdown following from that. I can't believe Saquon Barkley didn't score. If you would have told me before the game that, the Eagles would have put up 40 freaking points and Saquon Barkley would have had a touchdown, I would have said that you're out of your mind. But either way, yeah, A.J. Brown scores, and then, before we know it, it's 24-0 going into halftime. And then, the Eagles come out. I believe they ended up kicking a field goal. They got a quick 3-and-out on the Chiefs after halftime. They end up kicking a field goal to put the lead at 27-0. And then Hurts throws a bomb to Devontae Smith to go up 34-0. And then the Chiefs came down. Mahomes throws a touchdown pass to Xavier Worthy, but man, the common theme in this game was Philadelphia just keeping their foot on the gas. It pains me to know that this could have been what the 49ers could have done last season. They had their chance to go even in the Super Bowl with the Kansas City Chiefs, and they didn't. And they have to live with that. And it sucks to know that Philadelphia was the team to knock off the Chiefs for the first time in 4 or 5 years since Mahomes last loss in the Super Bowl. Pains me to know that Philadelphia was the team to finally get over the hump and beat the Kansas City Chiefs and prevent that three-peat. But at the same time, I mean, as a Niners fan, I loved seeing Philadelphia prevent them from three-peating, and I hate the Eagles, but I mean, at the end of the day, I respect them. They definitely have my respect now, right? Like they went into the Super Bowl, prevented the Chiefs from three-peating, and absolutely blew out the Chiefs and dominated the Chiefs in every aspect of the game. This was a lot like the Tampa Bay game when Tom Brady beat Mahomes. I mean, I said in a preview video earlier this morning talking about the Super Bowl that one of the keys for the Philadelphia Eagles to win this game was going to be getting to Patrick Mahomes, causing pressure, um, wreaking havoc. And that's exactly what they did. I mean, from start to finish, their defensive line absolutely dominated the Chiefs' offensive line. But the Chiefs dominated in the trench, or the Eagles dominated the trenches all game. Like their offensive line was wreaking havoc on the Chiefs' defensive line. They couldn't do anything. The defensive line for the Eagles was wreaking havoc. If there's one thing the 49ers can take away from this game, it's that they have to bolster their offensive line by 10 times what it is now, and they have to bolster their defensive line by 10 times what it is now. That's how the Chiefs won this game. They won the game. I keep saying the Chiefs. That's how the Eagles won this game. They won the game in the trenches with their offensive line and their defensive line that Howie Roseman has, stacked up for this team. Howie Roseman has done a phenomenal job at drafting offensive line and drafting defensive linemen. And look what came with that. They just won the freaking Super Bowl. So if there's one thing the Niners can take away from this, it's that they need to revamp their defensive line. They need to revamp their offensive line. So the Niners can take away a lot of things from this game, though. Defensive scheming versus the Chiefs. The way Philly's offense kind of dominated this game. Like Saquon Barkley was a non-factor. I think the Chiefs pretty much shut him down. I think he had like 25, 26 carries, and I don't even know if he broke like 65 rushing yards. He had 25 carries for 57 yards. Saquon Barkley was shut down this entire game. Like, he didn't play that good at all. And again, the Chiefs did a phenomenal job at stopping the run, but it didn't matter because Jalen Hurts, 11 carries for 72 yards. The Eagles have two running backs in Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley. That's one thing that Steve Young mentioned with the 49ers. Steve Young mentioned that Kyle Shanahan needs to start calling designed runs for Brock Purdy to open this offense up more. It's what the Eagles did. It's what the Eagles have done, and they've had a lot of success this season with that 1-2 punch with Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley. I would love the 49ers to open up the offense and call designed runs for Brock Purdy. I don't know if Kyle Shanahan's ever going to do that, but Steve Young went on 95-7 The Game, I believe it was, and talked about how he wishes Kyle Shanahan would open up the offense more and call designed runs for Brock Purdy. It's what the Eagles did. It's what the Eagles have done, and it worked, man. Like, even though Saquon was kind of shut down, Hurts helped that run game a lot more. Again, 11 carries for 72 yards, also had the touchdown on the tush push. And then you look at the receiving things, or the receiving side of things. Devontae Smith, 4 catches, 69 yards, a touchdown. Devontae Smith has torched this Eagles secondary in the past. Every single time that they play the Chiefs, Devontae Smith has a phenomenal game. But A.J. Brown, 3 catches for 43 yards and a touchdown. He was able to score. Jahan Dotson kind of got things going really early. Caught only 2 balls. I think he had 2 catches before halftime and didn't get another target because they were up so damn big and they didn't really have to throw the ball that much. But Saquon Barkley got things kind of going in the receiving game. He had 6 catches for 40 yards, led the team in catches. Dallas Goedert was a player that I thought would have had a better game than he did because he had a phenomenal matchup going into this game. The Chiefs ranked the worst in the league versus tight ends this year. But man, Mahomes had a terrible game. Obviously, it was a lot. It looked a lot better on paper than what it really was because a lot of his stats were garbage time stats. 21 for 32, 257 yards, 3 touchdowns, and he had 3 total turnovers. Had the fumble, and had 2 crucial interceptions, 2 very bad interceptions, 2 Jimmy G-esque interceptions. He was terrible in this game. I don't give a shit what anybody says. That was one of the worst quarterback performances in a Super Bowl I have ever seen in my lifetime. Xavier Worthy showed up, though. Again, a lot of his stats were kind of garbage time, but he had 8 catches for 157 yards and 2 touchdowns, led the team. Travis Kelce, one of the worst games I've ever seen from him. He was completely shut down, had drops. He's no longer the best tight end in football. It's been George Kittle for the past couple seasons, in my opinion. It's been George Kittle for as long as I can remember, in my opinion, because he is the more complete tight end than Travis Kelce is. But man, if Travis Kelce, what a fall off from Travis Kelce. He wasn't really that dominant this year, all in all, either, for the most part. But man, he didn't do shit tonight. DeAndre Hopkins, 2 catches, 18 yards for a touchdown. I mean, at halftime, the Philadelphia Eagles had more points than the Chiefs had yards. I mean, if that's not a dominant performance, I don't know what the hell is. So, Chiefs are the Super Bowl champions. Congratulations to, I said the Chiefs again. Congratulations to the Philadelphia Eagles on this Super Bowl win. Again, man, dominant performance on both sides of the ball. They clearly were the better team from start to finish in this game. They dominated in every aspect of the game. And it hurts knowing that this could have been the 49ers. It could have been the 49ers doing this last year. It could have been the Niners doing this in 2019. But they've fallen short twice now, and Philadelphia gets another crack at it this year, and they take advantage of the opportunity, and now they're Super Bowl champions. And the 49ers can learn a lot from the Eagles, which pains me to say, but they can. They can learn a lot from how they schemed up their defense going into this game, how they've ran their offense all year long. Like John Lynch, Shanahan, learn from the Philadelphia Eagles. Draft offensive linemen, draft defensive linemen, bolster the trenches. That can't be emphasized enough. Bolster the trenches, and you will win football games. Defense wins championships. We've seen that tonight. 49ers have to get back to a fast, fierce defense, dominant defense, and it's going to start with the defensive line. Trade for Myles Garrett this offseason. See how well that helps. That's going to be a night and day difference from what we've seen last year. So, again, congratulations to the Philadelphia Eagles on winning the Super Bowl. I hate the Eagles. I hate the Chiefs, but, I'll give respect where respect's due. And this was one of the most dominant performances in the Super Bowl that I've seen. Obviously, Tampa Bay dominated Mahomes, but there's a common theme with this, right? Like Tampa Bay and Tom Brady and the Buccaneers beat the Chiefs in the Super Bowl 3-4 years ago by this exact same defensive performance. They got to Mahomes. They wreaked havoc on the Chiefs' offensive line. That performance started with the Buccaneers' defensive line. And fast forward a couple of years later, we see the exact same performance basically by the Philadelphia Eagles. I think the Eagles' performance was a lot more dominant in my opinion. I could be wrong. I don't really remember how many sacks that Tampa Bay had during that game, but it seemed to me like Philly was just more dominant than Tampa during that Super Bowl. They were both dominant either way, but yeah, man. I mean, like I said, the 49ers in 2 Super Bowls against the Chiefs, I don't think they haven't been as dominant on the defensive line as they could be. And I think that was probably the main reason the Philadelphia Eagles won the Super Bowl. Obviously, having a pretty good offensive line helped as well for the Eagles, but it started with the defensive line. It started with the defense. They created turnovers. They had 2 interceptions. One was a pick six. They had a strip sack, and a fumble recovery. So it starts with the defense, man. The Niners have Robert Saleh back. They need to take a page out of the Eagles book and figure out how the hell to get back to the Super Bowl and freaking win it this time. And next year again, the Super Bowl is at Levi's. There's no better time to win a Super Bowl than being at Levi's Stadium in front of your home crowd next year. So it's time for the Niners to get aggressive during the offseason, bolster this defensive line, bolster this offensive line, you know, get a receiver or two if you're going to trade Debo, which they are likely going to do that. Either way, Debo's not going to be on the team. If they don't trade him, they're going to likely release him. So sign a guy like T. Higgins, trade for a guy like Myles Garrett. If there's ever been a more, reason why you should trade for Myles Garrett, it's because we just watched how the Philadelphia Eagles dominated on their defensive line tonight. And you get a guy like Myles Garrett, he takes your defensive line to a whole nother level, and you could potentially win a Super Bowl. So 49ers can learn from the Eagles tonight. But again, congrats to the Philadelphia Eagles for taking advantage of the opportunity and not getting swept by the Chiefs in Super Bowls. And yeah, let me know what you guys think of this in the comments down below. Jalen Hurts also won the Super Bowl MVP. I thought he played pretty well for the most part. I said before the game, if the Chiefs make the Eagles pass, I don't see how the Eagles win this game. But they made me eat my words. That's exactly what the Chiefs did. They shut down Saquon Barkley. Again, he only had 25 carries for only 57 yards. Hurts used his legs, had a rushing touchdown and threw the ball pretty efficiently as well. He did have an interception pretty early in the game. That was a terrible throw, but for the most part, he did exactly what he needed to do, to win the game for the Eagles. And I definitely agree with him getting Super Bowl MVP. I think you could have definitely gave it to one of the defensive guys or the defensive line in general. Screw that. Really, Vic Fangio in general for his defensive scheme. But obviously, you got to pick a player, and I think it's fair that Jalen Hurts got the MVP. I think really on the most part, there wasn't like one player that stood out mainly. Josh Sweat stood out. I think he had a couple sacks, but it was really just a good overall defensive performance from the Philadelphia Eagles. So again, let me know what you guys think of this in the comments down below. Against Eagles win Super Bowl 40-22, prevent the Chiefs from three-peating. So thank you, Philadelphia, for doing that. It pains me knowing that the Eagles were able to beat the Chiefs and not the 49ers, because damn, they had a chance to do it last year. But we got to live with the results and hope that we can eventually get back to the Super Bowl and actually win it this time. So as always, go Niners. Let me know your guys' thoughts on the Super Bowl in the comments down below. Yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one.